Hey gamers, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at Shapes.io. So this is a free-to-play game in your browser if you go to Shapes.io, or you could purchase it on Steam for $4 to get the standalone version, which I've done. Gives you a little bit better configurability on the controls, but essentially it's the same game either way. And it's a automation resource management game similar to Factorio, but in this case it's all open source, so we should see some pretty cool developments from the community moving forward. And it's also distilled down to basic colors and shapes, so it doesn't have any overarching themes like you're not on some alien planet. It's very basic, but I do find it pretty challenging and kind of addicting. It's just really simple and pretty fun to try and solve some of the harder puzzles in this game. So let's go ahead and get started here. Now we have different shapes and colors around the map here, and we have a central hub that we're supposed to deliver things to. So right off the bat, it's asking us for these circles. We need to deliver 40 of them to unlock the cutter. So we can do this right next to the hub. Although this is a bad idea moving forward, we don't want to be building too close because things get cluttered pretty quickly. But we're just trying to unlock things to get started with. It doesn't really matter. As we upgrade, we'll be getting new tools, so we'll have to delete things anyways. So I actually know that we're gonna need to get these shapes, these squares right afterwards. So I'm gonna get these started so we can get to some more interesting things. Okay, so we have our cutter unlocked. Now this only goes in one direction from top to bottom. So you can see the circle has 4 parts to it. And the next thing that we need to deliver are the left-hand side of the circles. So I'm gonna keep these old lines going. We'll still need them. Let's see. Right, so we'll need to actually delete the other, whoops. We'll need to delete the right hand side of these. And looks like I built this a little too scrunched up here. So in order for the factory to produce, you have to delete the unneeded parts. You have to send them somewhere. Okay. So this balancer is actually pretty important. It's a balancer which lets you split conveyor belts or merge them together. It's extremely useful. So all this clutter can be reduced. And we're going to be rebuilding all of this stuff anyways. As we zoom out, you can see we have all sorts of colors and shapes available throughout the map. And this goes on. Is it infinite? Yeah, it's probably infinite. And now this game is developed by a single individual, so it's not exactly perfect in every sense of the way. I wouldn't mind having a mini map So as you're navigating around, you can tell where your hub is in relation to everything else. Um, I also think the UI is a little. It could be improved a little bit, but it's enough that we could work with. And this game is still really fun. So to unlock level 4, we'll need to deliver the right hand side of these squares. So we're going to get that started, and we need 120 of them. So we're going to get 4 going, or maybe even 5. And we can make a mess next to our base right now because all of this can be deleted later as we get more efficient. So go ahead and build these up. And now all of these lines have all merged into a single line, and we're gonna go ahead and start delivering them right away, and we'll merge additional lines if we have room. Now the UI is pretty smart at adapting to the direction of things. You do have to be careful that your conveyor belts are going the right way, but it seems to kind of know which way to orient our our load balancers and stuff like that most of the time. So we did get a notification. We've got some upgrades here that we can go ahead and do. So we can go ahead and upgrade our conveyor belts. Now we'll need to deliver 360 of the circles and 1,500 of the half circles to get to the next tier of that upgrade. And we just reached level 4, so we can get this rotator. So what that's gonna do is let us avoid using the trash bin to delete our unwanted items. Now these conveyors, the extractors won't work unless they have a destination for all the end products. So what we can do is, in this case, get rid of that. We can go ahead and build a rotator. Hopefully, actually, no. Gonna have to move this around a little bit. Okay, so this is gonna have to get rotated twice. It would help if I rotated the rotator. Let's see. And then we can merge this together. Okay, and so now we have a much more efficient process here, where it's essentially twice as fast for this extraction node. But we need to go ahead and get our half circles going. So we're gonna start a new thing down here. And all of this can get cleaned up. Later we'll move the extraction points to further away from the hub, because this is pretty cluttered at the moment. But All right, so in this one, it will produce the bottom half if we... But we'll need to rotate this 3 times. And then we can merge them. And now we have all of the top half of the semicircle, so we'll go ahead and get that delivered to the hub. All right, I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this, and we're going to get a new extraction going in a more out of the way spot back here. We need to deliver a lot of these circles over time, thousands and thousands of them. So we're going to go ahead and build a bunch of extractors down here. We'll merge them all together. And as we get more efficient, this will go faster and faster, and we won't have to deal with it. So to upgrade the next tier of extraction, we'll also need to pull these quarter semicircles top right quadrant of the circle, and I'm going to go ahead and build some new ones here. We're just going to mirror the same setup on the other side. Actually, you know what? Since we'll need these semicircles kind of permanently, we're gonna do them down here. Okay, so this is tunneling. This lets us bridge our conveyors. Let's do down here. I'm gonna do 6 extractors. And let's see how these are oriented. So we need to do 1 rotation on this guy and 3 rotations on this guy. A little bit later in the game, we'll be able to copy and paste our designs. It's actually okay that we can't do that right now because these designs are so inefficient with the lack of tools that we have access to. All right, and we'll need to cut one more time across all of these. All right, so right now we have 6 cutters, and we have all of these semicircles, and we'll need to cut these in half again vertically. So since we have 6 of these, we'll need 12 cutters to do the next operation. And I'm gonna go ahead and build these in this orientation. Whoops. Let's see how many we have. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Now, the other thing that we could be doing is extracting these stars. So let's see where we can find those on the map, kind of close by. We have some right over here, and I think that would work just fine. We're gonna extract 5 of them. Sounds good for now. Okay, so we've unlocked painting. So how that works is you send a color into this module, and now the colors are only used to feed the painters, and you can mix them together. It's an additive mix, so if you take all 3 colors, green, red, and blue, mix them together, you get white. So you take those and you add them to whatever shape, and you've got paint. Now it looks like we are backed up quite a bit on this cutting operation. It's extremely slow. So we're gonna add an additional line, at least one more line, and see if that alleviates some of this backup here. And it looks like that's still not enough. Well, hopefully we can unlock the next tier of upgrades, and I think our cutting operation is really slow right now. And so let's see how we're looking on our upgrades. So we need a whole bunch more of these bottom rounds, and I can see our belts here for those. This is not producing very efficiently, and I see our reason right here is, like an idiot, I did not complete these links. So this is much more efficient now. We have a fully saturated line. I'm sure you were screaming at me in the comments about this, but here we go. This is the proper, this is more like what it should look like. And we also we can consolidate some of these squares here and probably make additional ones. Again, we're going to delete all of this in the future because it's too close to the hub. Actually, let's just go ahead and get that started over here. Okay, so what we want to see is all these conveyor belts totally full, and we're not quite there with this operation, and I can see we can make that a little bit better, but I don't think we need to be delivering them just yet. We do need to get our mixing and painting started. So, and also we need to start delivering these red circles. That won't be a big deal. Let's go ahead and rebuild all of this though, someplace a little bit more out of the way. And we'll start delivering the blue half squares. And so we have some blue up here. Yeah, that seems like we could do it over here too with this, and then jump in to this location using our new tunnels. So let's do that. All right, so now we need 3,500 of these bottom rounds, and we have a lot of painting to do with, so might as well build our template here. And what we'll need to do is send these squares down this row, and we're going to do a parallel operation. That way, if there won't be any bottlenecks. I did build these one square too close. Let's... We'll start with 6 for now. Okay, so I've kind of started to build our template for painting operations. This will be what we use moving forward, even as we get more efficient. This is a pretty standard design. This game is only a few days old, but the best design usually wins, and it's hard to minimize this any further than what we can do here. So one of the issues is because you have an input on one side and an output on the other, we can only deliver so much paint. We won't need as much paint as we do the input shapes. However, if we built 6 here, if we were to build 12 in a row, we would run out of paint by the time it gets to the bottom. So I like to keep these in manageable blocks of 6 and just kind of copy paste them into parallel chains. Now we can go ahead and use our new tunnels, and we can use WASD to kind of just lay a lot of these lines all at the same time. And one other thing I should point out is we did the painting operation first because it's more efficient to do that before we do the cuts, because it's just less operations. Well, as you can see, our painting operation, just painting, is very, very slow. We might have about probably less than 50% total being delivered to this conveyor belt. So we're far away from being at capacity. We can upgrade our painting to be a little bit faster once we deliver, looks like about another 500 of these right-hand blue squares. So I'm not going to build another one of these just yet. And the reason why is we'll be able to get another tool later on. We're just going to let this run in the background and just be a little bit inefficient for now. Looks like we've got good delivery on pretty much everything else for the time being. To unlock the rotation, so right now we can only rotate clockwise, and we can unlock counterclockwise if we deliver 800 of these red circles. Now our hub is pretty full at the moment. We've got one. We actually can deliver from any direction. So I'm going to pick these guys here, and I'm gonna pretty much mirror this paint setup here. This is our tunnel. Actually, this side could go in the other direction. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm just going to rebuild this the other way. So these shapes go in this direction towards the top, and then on the way out, we're going to go down. So our line is pretty sparse here. Things are going a bit faster, but it looks like our bottleneck is actually not the painters themselves, but rather delivering these color units all the way up the chain. You can see that they're backed up at the start, and then up here they come very sporadically. So we're going to add let's add 3 or 4 more. It looks like we have space for 4 more. Now you can calculate all this out, 1.6 items per second, and then look at the conveyor belt speed as far as how much it can deliver. But doing it visually is probably just as easy. And if you're really a stickler for accuracy in this game, then you might find yourself frustrated because you upgrade so quickly and the dynamics change. So visually you can tell what's going on. And now it looks like we're starting to get better delivery. What we want to see is these backed up all the way. Okay, cool. So now our production line is much more full. Looks like we could probably build 1 more of these up, but we're not going to bother with that. We do need to deliver 800 of them, and we're at 700 right now. But it does make me think that, yes, so this one has the same issue. So I'm going to add 4 more of the blue extractors and make this line a little bit more efficient too. Now here we have color mixing, so we can start blending colors together. And this is where the game gets really fun, because you can because things start getting pretty complex pretty quickly. So adding these additional extractors on the color helped out a lot. We have our blue right-hand rectangles fully saturated on the conveyor, and we've unlocked the next level here. So it looks like we have all of our lines going into the hub pretty well maximized. We could do quite a bit to make things more efficient. Now that we have the rotator, the counterclockwise rotator unlocked, we could fix this whole thing. All of this is just, it's a little big and we could make that better. But for now, we're going to go ahead and in the episode, our next shape will need to blend 2 colors together. And if we want to do our next round of upgrades, we'll need to start delivering some pretty cool shapes. So join us next time. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this game. And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.